Alright, what is up? What is good? We have another new chapter of One Piece. Chapter 1095, Better Off Dead in This World. And this is one that I think is going to have some staggering lore implications. I am, of course, talking about the fact that Buggy's nose is apparently detachable. I thought it was just that he naturally had a big red nose, and that the clown thing is just kind of a joke that he's like sensitive about it, and he always complains about people. He thinks that people make references to it because he mishears, and then he gets all irate when he just obviously has a big red clown nose. And, you know, being a clown pirate, he's like leaning into it in a way that just doesn't make any sense. But apparently, this is a fake nose. Or maybe this monkey just ripped off his nose and he's like bleeding out right now. Either way, the lore implications are staggering. No, just kidding. Anyways, the last chapter was pretty huge. We saw one of the 5 Elder Stars in action. If you want to talk about Oda planning for the long term and having these characters set up as potential villains for like almost 2 decades now, I would guess. The Gorosei stand above them all, quite literally. At the time, I was like a little confused as to what exactly he was. He kind of had like spider qualities, but also bull-like qualities. And then it was pointed out by a few people in comments and in comments that I read in other places that in Journey to the West, our protagonist monkey god is also associated with 6 other demons, and one of them is a bull demon, which likely is what we're dealing with here. It's going to be that like cosmology, you know, the numbers track, and it's like a pretty central part of this ancient Chinese, Japanese myth that One Piece seems to be taking a lot of inspiration from and paying homage to. So hopefully I got all the details of that right, but it's something along those lines, and that's kind of what the people are using to judge Saint J. Garcia. Now, the more important thing is that this guy seems insanely strong, right? And we're in a situation where Luffy is pooped. He just had to go Gear 5 pretty hard to fight against Kizaru. Most other people caught in this immediate situation are like non-combatants. Bonnie stabbed him, but I don't think that's gonna do a whole lot on the grand scheme of things, but we'll see. I don't know. How strong is this guy? We genuinely have no idea. But we're gonna find out, probably, in this chapter. Okay. Avert your eyes from his holy form. Interesting. Only seen them in portraits. Emeralds themselves will act for a single celestial dragon. These are the pinnacle of those gods. One of them came all the way here from Marijois. Yeah, I guess they've never seen them in the flesh before, and they probably want to keep it that way. I think there's maybe an element, too, of, like, they want to maintain a kind of, like, regal, prestigious dignity that may be lost if you saw them as a giant cow demon. It's interesting, too. Another thing that I saw people speculate a lot on, that I'm going to really try to keep an eye out, is, like, through what technique or power or hockey or magic did Saint J. Garcia use to warp himself to the island? There was like a pentagram, all of this weird ritualistic stuff, the black lightning they mention here again. It's pretty bizarre. It's pretty different than anything else we've seen in One Piece. And there could be whole ancient arcane things coming into play here. Speaking of which, it just occurred to me now, the other thing I wanted to talk about, that giant robot. The slumbering giant robot from the ancient kingdom that showed signs of life when Luffy went into Gear 5. Maybe that's the only one now that can take down Saint J. Garcia, because everybody else is pooped? Okay. Bonnie stabbed Saint Saturn. She stabbed the Elder. And that man stands atop the very world itself. Yeah, he's a little insulted by everybody freaking out about this little sword stabbing him, because this guy's, like, huge. I have to sneeze. Oh. If I were afraid of her sword, I would have avoided it. Oh, boy. He does something strange to both Sanji and Bonnie, where he just kind of knocks them in place. And I remember saying before, like, I wasn't sure if these guys were actually going to be that monstrous in and of themselves, like, capable of this kind of hand-to-hand combat. But I thought it would be cool if they had, like, super ancient, insanely powerful devil fruits that they have just kept under lock control through eras of the world government. Like, I thought it would be crazy if he had just, like, the death fruit. Where if you just, like, look at someone, like the god that has shown up recently in Osama ranking, you can just insta-kill people. I was like, damn, that would be, like, crazy. It'd be very hard to write around, but that would be crazy. But it looks like he does have all sorts of just nonsensical powers. The blood vanishes. Sanji is knocked back in midair based on nothing. Rather sluggish work by your standards, Kizaru. Yeah, he got walloped. Let me understand why. Let us see. Ooh. Luffy. Uh-oh. Okay, nice. Frankie knocks him out of the way. I like this. I like that it's not Luffy gets some burst of strength at the end or some inherent power of the god Nika saves him. But instead it's his crew working together. Helping out. A pirate crew that cooperates. Interesting he mentions that. Maybe in contrast to the Rocks pirates that were at each other's throats. By the way, since we're just kind of now just summarizing all the One Piece stuff I've read since the last chapter, I was reading another theory that suggests that Rocks himself might actually be like a Buggy type figure that was able to amass these like ultra powerful pirates of his era, but himself didn't really have any combat potential, which I think would be very, very, very funny and just an interesting way to parallel the eras. And because, yeah, it would explain why Rocks Zebek hasn't really had anything attributed to him personally. The stories are always of his crew and how terrifying the Rocks pirates were. It would also explain why the Rocks pirates had so much infighting and ended up disbanding. Because they knew their leader was a sham and it was just like this really awkward situation. I don't know. I'm quite interested in that theory. I think that would be kind of a fun pet theory. Because I think it's more interesting than just he was another really, really, really strong dude of that era. Because we've already got a lot of those. They already have a lot of gaps in their legacy that we can flesh out with more heroic tales and stuff. You know, it's not like we've run out of stuff to do with Goldie Roger or Garp in his prime or whatever. So it'd be an interesting twist. Okay, anyways, let's move on. It came to mind because I feel like him going, oh, a pirate crew that cooperates is him thinking about the Rocks pirates. We failed to anticipate your presence here. But if your fate is strong enough to escape this desperate situation, I would very much like to see it. Vegapunk, your betrayal is most disappointing, but your great service to our military is appreciated. Which of you should die first? Tell me from least to most painful. I want you to die with nothing but regret for your rebellion against the world government. I like this guy's demeanor. Well, maybe I shouldn't say I like. I'm impressed with it. Because I think the risk when you protect a character to this extent, you just keep hyping them up and keep having them behind the scenes lurking, and you don't unveil them in this sort of form for so long, is that it's easy for it to be disappointing, right? Like, that's a lot to live up to. But so far, St. J. Garcia, it's like, I don't know, just his, like, calmness about this, the way he's almost, like, casually kind of running through the different options and stuff. He doesn't seem, like, overly pissed off or anything. More just kind of, like, almost impressed that he would have to come and deal with the situation himself, but with absolute confidence and faith that he will be able to deal with the situation himself. And just kind of calmly telling Vegapunk, I want to make you regret this. I want you to go to your death regretting this rebellion. Just such a clearly stated intent. So unemotional, and yet terrifying. Why is it that human beings feel the need to do what they're explicitly forbidden from doing? It's like I'm being held down. It's not science, and it must be devil fruit powers. Killed my father, Saturn. Yeah. Kuma was born into a slave caste. They use the word caste here. It's very specific invoking. I think One Piece has used that word a couple times before. The descendant of a clan that once committed a grave crime against the world. The last survivor of the extinct Buccaneer people. Whoa. Now, of course, Buccaneer is like another word for pirate. Another word that has been saved up until this moment. So this was like an ancient pirating tribe that has descendant only to Kuma and Bonnie. Ever since I was a boy, I wanted to be a hero that could save the imprisoned and suffering. So this is parts of Bonnie's memories of Kuma. Things maybe she saw in his little memory bubble. Just like Nika, the warrior of liberation. This is brutal too, just holding her up to have the Marines shoot her is... I don't know, it seems like more cruel and ruthless than just killing her himself. Pierce in the blue with his laughter and this rhythm, and the drums of liberation, this rhythm that's been passed down through the generations. Come and free me too. Oh my god, what can happen at this point? Will Kuma himself show up? Because that's the only other kind of factor. Kuma and the big robot are kind of the two wild cards that could appear here. I don't think Bonnie's just gonna die. I don't think that would be too much. Oh my god, and now substantial flashback. Full black outline page flashback. Now Bonnie, her life is flashing before her eyes, but specifically the part of her life where she experienced her father's entire life. And now we too, finally. Okay, I thought this would be like one of the core components of Egghead. This was something that I was expecting from this arc from like day one, as we're gonna finally hear the full story of Kuma, which is so insane. Like, we know already that it's insane and that it involves so many other significant events around the world and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is the time for that. And it turns out it is. It's just taken us a long roundabout way to get there. Okay. Won't speak a word of it. Government agent showed up at the hospital. It's me. I'm the one who has Buccaneer blood, but my wife does not. Let her and my son go free. Whoa. So we saw Kuma. This is again, Oda knows, or at least Oda makes great efforts to stay consistent with choices he made a long time ago. Do you remember there was a picture in the SBS of all the warlords when they were little? And Kuma was always carrying like a big sack of stuff. That was the pose he was depicted in. So he's in Marijois, hauling stuff around all the time. They're both slaves because they have this Buccaneer blood that makes them so strong. They're both very highly praised slaves. But the mother was just executed. Less value as a slave, I suppose. You can survive this. The warrior of liberation will come. He'll show up and save you. The sun god Nika. Legendary warrior whose story is told throughout our Buccaneer heritage. Show up and take you out under the sun to the freedom of the sea. Always smiling and laughing. Okay. So his dad just dies at this occasion because he was caught sharing this secret truth about Nika. This place has the audacity to name itself the Valley of God, but its ample natural resources. Our customary manhunt and claim this island for the world government. The king, one-paneled. Oh, this is, we saw this guy as an old man recently. very briefly. Negative 10,000 points. Jesus Christ. Problem slaves and criminals to hunt. Kuma had escaped. Whoa. You've got giant's blood, I hear. And then Ivankov. This is how the Revolutionary Army begins. When they were just kids. This is gonna get crazy. I'm so excited. We could learn about the origins of Dragon here too. This could lead to the learning about the circumstances of Luffy's birth. Who the heck is his mom? This is it's probably just some lady. Wild, crazy stuff. Crazy chapter. I think this is gonna be a long flashback. This could be another volume long flashback. And we're gonna get to a point we are weeping our eyes out for dear brother Kuma. And then he shows up triumphant. Knocks the exhaustion right out of Luffy with the pawpaw fruit. Luffy, revitalized, beats the shit out of Saturn J. Garcia. Let's see it. Let's see it. Let's fucking go. Alright. That's all for now. See ya.